Welcome back. Now, so far I've been trying to improve my racing skills, but today we're doing something slightly different. If you saw my last racing episode, you might have guessed this was coming. Today we're switching things up. No more racing lines, no more safety rating. Today we're getting sideways. Or at least that's the plan. Oh, and minor detail. I've never actually been on Assetto Corsa before. I didn't touch the settings, didn't check the force feedback. I just jumped in and assumed I'd figure it out. Yet another case of misplaced confidence.
Very clever, Captain.
One of these days I'll actually prepare properly, but today was not that day. Alright, so clearly just sending it and hoping for the best isn't the move. Time to dial it back, work on the settings and actually learn how the car reacts. Step 1, donuts. Simple, controlled, predictable. In theory. Well, I've never done this before. Okay, maybe I have a little experience. But turns out that doesn't mean much when you're wrestling a sim instead of feeling the car underneath you. The goal here is to get a feel for the throttle control, counter steering and keeping the car in a controlled slide. The practice continued. Morning, noon, and night. Just me, the car, and a graveyard of destroyed tyres. But I think we're finally nailing this. Okay, so I've mastered the donut. Let's see how that reflects back on the track. Alright, so after that absolute disaster, I did some digging. And it turns out my settings were way off. No wonder I felt like I was fighting the car instead of driving it. Time for round 2. This time with actual force feedback and a car that doesn't handle like a fridge on roller skates. Okay, so we're finally getting somewhere. This is either real progress or the most controlled accident I've ever had. Either way, I'll take it. I'm actually managing to link slides, feather the throttle, and, dare I say it, look like I know what I'm doing. This might just be the first time I've actually felt in control instead of just along for the ride, holding on for dear life. I say in control, but let's be honest, I'm still one bad decision away from an impromptu wall inspection. But yeah, this is starting to feel really good. And you know what that means?
No, but I bet you're going to tell us.
Time to make it even more dangerous. Something I had read online wasn't a good idea, but had been enticing me since I first sat in the car. Feeling good, making progress. Obviously, the next logical step is to throw all of that out the window and crank up the turbo. Of course, with great power comes great stupidity. So naturally, the first thing I did was completely overdo it. But aside from that, the car feels completely different and in the best way possible. Before, it felt like I was dragging the car sideways, like I had to fight to keep the drift alive, and honestly, that's probably a good thing when you're learning. You don't want to rely on just mashing the throttle to get angle. You need to understand how to initiate, how to balance the slide and actually control the car. But now the car wants to go sideways. It's eager, and I finally feel like we're speaking the same language. And that language is tyre smoke. Suddenly, transitions feel smoother. The power is right there when I need it, and I'm not constantly second guessing whether I have enough torque to hold the slide. The car actually feels alive, and I'm really enjoying myself. I'm back out in the car, practicing, rain or shine. Alright, we've been through the struggle. We've crashed. We've rage quit. We've questioned all of our life choices. But now it's different. The car isn't fighting me anymore. I'm not just reacting, I'm controlling it. Every little throttle input, every counter steer, it's clicking. So there's only one thing left to do. Whoa! Just before we get into that, let me tell you about the competition. I'm giving away a $50 voucher for either iRacing or Assetto Corsa. Winner's choice. If you want some new content, here's how you enter. Step 1, subscribe to the channel. Step 2, drop a comment down below. It could be absolutely anything. Tell me your worst drift fail, roast my driving, or tell me what you want to see on the channel in the future. That's it. I'll pick a random comment and announce the winner in the next video. Right, let's get back to the drifting. It's time for the final test. No more practice, no more excuses. Just me, the car, and one full set. Looking back, I realise I never let myself just enjoy the process. Every time I made progress, I immediately moved the goalposts, barely acknowledging the small wins before setting an even bigger challenge for myself. At first, I couldn't even hold a slide. Then I nailed a donut, then I linked a few corners, but each time, it still wasn't enough. Instead of appreciating each step, I kept chasing the next one, rushing ahead like I was on some kind of deadline. And honestly, it wasn't just the driving. Making this video was its own adventure. I had to figure out a new sim, install mods for the first time, tweak settings and learn the drone camera. Plus, in true sim racing fashion, spend half my time fixing stuff instead of driving. But in hindsight, I should have just taken a moment to sit back and actually enjoy learning something new, rather than treating it like a race to get good. Because as frustrating as it was, this was easily some of the most fun I've ever had behind the wheel, virtual or not. I really appreciate every single one of you who've hit that subscribe button so far. You're absolute legends, whether you came here for the racing, the crashes, or just to watch me struggle. Thanks for being part of the ride. I'll see you in the next one.